Alright, y'all, so, I'm gonna have an introduction for this channel in a little bit. It's gonna be basically like my live stream stuff, except it's gonna be on a cohesive channel, and I'm gonna try to do, like, playlists and things where you can actually, you know, kind of, like, separate through the actual, like, material, through the content, because I know a few of you have told me, like, I'll be looking through your stuff, looking for a video, and I just can't find it, because you're always on Facebook, and I do be always on Facebook. I like a Facebook. Alright, so, I posted that, I am making lavender oil. So my lavender oil is out of my own lavender plants. Let me go out here. I keep it in a hanging pot. I keep it in a hanging pot on my back patio. Ooh, it's bright. And I keep it with, ooh, yeah, with my rosemary plant, because they're like companion plants. They'll help each other grow, and they really have. My rosemary was getting really sad this winter. Even whenever I would bring it in, it would just cry. So I've got 2 little lavender plants and a rosemary plant, and I'm going to be transplanting them soon into something bigger. They look a little sparse because I trimmed them, right, for this oil. So here's my rosemary. She's very, very sparse. You have to trim rosemary or it'll get really woody. And let me see, there was one this morning. I thought there was one this morning that I saw. Sometimes once you trim them near, here it is. I trimmed this one yesterday near the cotyledon down here, and it just like overnight growth, like really well. So this is all lavender here. And I trimmed her down to make this oil. The oil is really easy to make. So you're gonna take coconut oil. Empty now. I use coconut oil for everything. Don't put it on your face though, but everything else, you know. And what you're gonna do at home, and remember, don't judge my house because it's gonna be messy every single video, just always. It's just messy. I have 2 kids under 5 and I work full time. So I use a double boiler method, and it shouldn't be hot. Yeah. So this is a pot that has some water in it, and then a pot on top of it, and the handles catch to keep it in place so it's not just touching the bottom. And then inside you can see, right? So what you do basically is you put water at the bottom for your big pot so that you have your water warm. I like to start off with it boiling just so I know that it's hot. But you're not going to keep it boiling the whole time, otherwise you're going to burn your product. You have to remember that this is oil that you're going to be infusing it in, and if it gets really hot, then you're basically just frying your lavender. And this works for all things. Okay, this can work for a lot of plants that you want to infuse. So basically, once you got your double boiler going, you're going to put a hefty amount of coconut oil. Your coconut oil is going to be in ratio to how well you want your oil to smell. And so if you want like a small batch of extremely potent lavender oil, you're going to put just a little bit of coconut oil and a hell of lavender. I think that I used this is probably like a cup to maybe a cup and a fourth of coconut oil. And once you have it in there, mine was at room temperature, so it was like kind of clunky. You turn your fire down, and you just basically want all of your coconut oil to get melted, but you don't want it to be hot. You want it to be like pretty warm, like something that you would put on your skin and it would be pleasant. But if it burns your skin, then it's going to burn your lavender. Lavender is a delicate plant, right? So your heat initially, you do want to be pretty warm. You would put your lavender in there, give it a stir. If it immediately starts to smell really strong, turn your fire down, because that means you're burning your lavender. You're getting some sauteed lavender. And basically once your lavender is coated in the oil, you're going to turn your fire down, and you let it sit. I usually let it sit for about 30 minutes on low heat. I stir it every now and then. And then once the oil changes colors, which you can see, it's kind of like a yellow color, almost. Once your oil changes colors, I like to turn mine off, like my heat off, and I just let it sit. And the longer that you let it sit is the longer that, like, the better it's gonna smell. And so you can let it sit as long as it's like room temperature, or some people even like to let it sit for a while and then they like to leave the lavender sprigs in there once they like store it in a cool, dry place, because then your coconut oil is going to solidify, right? It gets like solid, and they like that because then they still have the lavender in there. I personally don't do that because of like the nature that we use our lavender oil. We like to, I mean, I guess it wouldn't really matter, but I don't know. I personally don't like it. We'll put it a little bit on like the corners of our pillows or things like that. I'm making this batch to help my family stay calm. Ember's been having a lot of sleeping issues since all of the COVID-19 panic. She can just like feel it in the air. And so between this and like our crystals and making sure she's got her proper dietary supplements and things like that, doing light therapy, we're really working hard to get her back on track. But basically, once you're satisfied with your soaking time, I would not recommend any less than 2 hours. Then you can literally take like a pair of tongs or something and you can pull your lavender up. Take, like, if you have rubber gloves or something, plastic, like even a plastic trash bag will work. You just basically want to put it over your hands and squeeze all of the oil out of that lavender. Sometimes if the lavender is like on a like long stalk and I know it's strong, I'll squeeze it, swirl it around in the oil again, squeeze it, and then just go until I feel like the lavender is getting weak under my hand. And then after you do that, if you still have those sprigs, you can literally like dry them out and hang it up and dry it. I've seen people go at a low temp in the oven. I don't recommend that because you've literally soaked them in coconut oil. And so I just feel like personally that's not going to work as well as just letting them air dry, because then later they're going to smell good. You can also cut it up really fine and compost it. You know, there's different uses, but you know me, I'm like, I don't want to just throw something away. I want to make use out of it. So that's like the very basics of lavender oil. I've known some people to like cook with this or use it in like pastries. I could see it being good in a lavender scone, something that you're already going to make lavender flavored. If you're using it just for topical use and you want it to smell more of lavender, because remember it's not an essential oil, so it's just going to lightly smell of lavender, you can put a dropper, like a few drops of essential oil in there just to give it that extra smell. Make sure that you're using a really good grade of essential oil. Just don't use any like garbage. And then I always recommend against fragrance oils because they're just bullshit. You're gonna get cancer from a fragrance oil. So, you know, get your essential oil. You can put a few drops. I don't recommend digesting essential oils. I know a lot of people that do, and I know a lot of people that swear that you shouldn't, but all of my aromatherapy friends say that it's like a terrible, terrible idea. And so I wouldn't suggest ingesting it. But yeah, y'all, let me know if you have any questions. You can hit up the Facebook, or if you know me personally, you can always send me a message there.